Hey guys, it's Eleanor. So, I like speculating on things, and one of the things I've been speculating lately is what area is going to be released next. And well, I think I figured it out. Let me explain. On the Star Stable map, there are 4 areas that are grayed out and inaccessible. There's Devils Gap, Mistfall Lake, Ashland, and Mystic Valley. There are players who have been glitching into all of these areas, so they're not really that secret anymore. For the record, glitching into blocked areas is considered cheating. It is against the Star Stable rules and could get you banned from the game, so I absolutely do not recommend glitching into blocked areas. Ashland and Devils Gap are both very small areas, so I don't think that they would count as a new area, but I do think that they could be released as some sort of compensation. What I mean by that is that we were not even supposed to get a new area in 2019, but at the end of the year, we got a new version of the previously blocked Old Kings Road as an addition to Golden Hills Valley. That is a new area, it's just very small. I guess you could call it a section. The reason I'm bringing this up is that the SSO team has confirmed that there will be no new areas in 2020. So, if anything, Ashland or Devil's Gap could compensate for this. If we look into the two, there's not all that much to take from it, but we can see that Ashland appears kind of abandoned by the SSO team. It's been around for ages and is very easy to glitch into, but it's never been changed to prevent people from doing it. It also looks the same as it always has, and its existence has only been mentioned briefly by Nick Stoneground way back in the day. We have actually visited the Devil's Gap passage through an old quest, but it has never really been mentioned since. But here's the deal. Devil's Gap was updated in 2019, which means that the team is probably working on it. This update also made it harder to get in. In addition, we need to address the fact that Devil's Gap has been in 2 of the original games, Star Stable The Autumn Riders and Starshine Legacy Episode 4 The Riddle of Dark Core. Ashland, on the other hand, has never been mentioned in previous games. Location-wise, Devil's Gap is just a random grayed out hole in the middle of the map, while Ashland is kind of tucked away nicely in the corner there. Now that the team is so focused on updating everything, I think it would make sense to fill out the holes on the map. So I decided to rule out Ashland while Devil's Gap remains a possibility. Now let's move on to Mistfall Lake. This area has been around since the release of Mistfall, and people have been glitching into it ever since. The only known entrance is through the Bushy Tunnel in Mistfall, a passageway called Rovers Gap. There's not all that much to see except for a few lakes and the famous test skin. What I take from this is that they're probably not working on the area for release, but they are currently using the area for testing. Otherwise, it would be pretty weird to leave the test skin there for no reason. I don't suppose it ended up there by accident. What is notable though is that the graphics change at some point in this area and suddenly become clear. I'm not sure if this means anything though, as it lines up pretty well with Veldia Lake. And then there's the area above North Link, which is thought to be named Mystic Valley. When I was looking into this, I figured that this area was too large, considering the size of previously released areas. I divided it in 2, one part being K Point, and the other part being Coulter's Village, and I was sure that I was onto something. However, I could not make this work out. I tried placing a border between the 2 areas, but everything seemed too connected and equally important to the current story. The Coulters have recently escaped through the Isengate, and Anne is up for revenge on Dark Core, whose headquarters are located on K Point. And the fact that we're just now getting an updated Katja tells me that the time for revenge is not that far away. And speaking of which, Katja's new outfit even reminds me of the Coulters. I mean, it's not very wintry, but the patterns on her dress is very similar to the Coulters. And if we look at the updated map, we can see that the main path is placed in the very center of the area, and it becomes very hard to split it in 2. So yeah, I concluded that it had to be one area after all. But how are they supposed to give us such a big area? Well, what if I told you that they've been working on this for the past 2.5 years? Let me explain. We used to get a new area every single year, and then it suddenly stopped. Their excuse is that they have to update the rest of the world, which they are doing. But I mean, when they've been giving us entirely new areas every year, it sounds very strange to me that it takes them 3 years to just update the graphics of the rest of the game. And on top of that, their weekly updates have generally been lacking. Maybe this is because they're working on this huge area that is a very important part of the story moving forward. There's a long list of potential entrances to this area. 2 of them are tunnels, one being the tunnel at North Link, which the construction workers have been digging forever. Keep in mind that every other construction site have resulted in new areas. The other tunnel is at the Darkcore worksite above Valedale, which looks like it's going straight into Dino Valley, but there's nothing on the other side of the mountain, which means that it has to lead elsewhere. There's one possible entrance underneath the observatory, only blocked by an invisible wall, and the new light ride has many spots where it looks natural to have a path heading up north. In Dino Valley, there's the icing gate and a hidden path on Nick's Stonegrounds camp. I've counted a total of 8 possible entrances. That's a lot of entrances. Let me also point out that Mystic Valley was updated twice in 2019. Following the first update, it was a big and exciting area with a lot of things to explore. But then, after the second update, they emptied out the area and added mountains and invisible walls. So if you were to glitch into it, you'd only be able to access a small and insignificant part of it. In other words, there's nothing to see anymore in this area. When you put all of these things into consideration, it looks like a dead giveaway that Mystic Valley is the next proper area to be released. The question is just when. We know that we're not getting a proper area this year, and that the SSO team still has a lot of updating to do in the rest of Jorvik. At this pace, I don't even think they can give us a new area in 2021. In the meantime though, it is a possibility that we'll get Devils Gap, because people are growing super impatient with the team and are getting continuously more bored from the lack of new areas in the game. We had 2 trail rides in 2019, and if the team were to keep this trend up, I can see them giving us something like that for Devils Gap in the near future, maybe even this year, especially considering that it's just a steep passageway anyway. The light ride was also added following the update of Golden Hills, and Jarlaheim is not fully updated yet. This could mean that Devil's Gap will open up around the time Jarlaheim gets updated. Regardless, we're not gonna go empty-handed. If we get nothing in 2020, then please keep in mind that they are most likely working on something much bigger than they can tell us. I obviously don't work for SSO, so I can't guarantee anything, but the evidence suggests that Mystic Valley most definitely is in the works. Well, it's time to wrap up the video, so to conclude, Devil's Gap will be the next section to open up, while Mystic Valley will be the next area to be released within the next few years. If you do have anything to add, then please leave a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I'll see you around.